Despite all the narratives, Kari Lake has a legitimate pathway to victory in Arizona. What is up, people of the internet? It is me, Real American, back in with a new video, and I hope everyone is having a great day. I'm certainly having a great day myself, and before I get into it, don't forget to like, subscribe, share with your friends, hit that little bell, follow social media accounts in the description down below, and of course, join the channel today. Again, these are all great ways to support the daily content, but enough of the promotional stuff. Let's get into it because we still don't have a winner in the Arizona Senate election. Yeah, that's right. Despite the election being on Tuesday, we don't have an official winner as of now. In fact, there are still hundreds of thousands of votes outstanding. That is not a misquote, not like 10,000 votes, not 30,000, not even 100,000 votes. There are upwards of 700,000 votes outstanding. Yeah, it's Friday. And they still have like 700,000 votes just out there. And what makes this even worse is the fact that there is a competitive Senate race here. Yeah, Kari Lake actually has a pathway to winning. And I know 2 to 3 weeks ago, everyone, including myself, thought this race was done. Kari Lake was going to get absolutely crushed. She had no pathway. Ruben Gallego was going to win easily. That's what everyone was saying. Well, right now, Kari Lake is only down by 40,000 votes, with like 600 to 700,000 votes outstanding. Yeah, she actually has a pathway to winning. And the only reason she actually has a pathway is, well, you look at the presidential race and Trump is winning Arizona right now by 6 points. Yeah, Donald Trump, as of now, is up 6 points in Arizona. The fact is, if it wasn't for Trump doing this much better in the state, Kari Lake would be getting crushed right now. She would be getting killed. Yet, as of now, because of what Trump's doing at the top of the ticket, she actually has a pathway. She has a pathway to winning. Now, on election night, it looked like it was over. She was getting crushed. She was way behind. Trump was winning the state, but she was down by like 5 to 6. But ever since election night, it's been getting closer and closer and closer. Now, it's within 1.5%. Now, I want to be clear that I really believe that right now, Ruben Gallego is still the clear favorite. I know there's a bunch of votes outstanding, but I believe that he's built up a big enough lead where he is the slight favorite. I shouldn't even say slight favorite. I believe right now, Ruben Gallego has like a 70% chance of winning. But the fact that Kari Lake has any chance whatsoever is just stunning because no one thought this was going to happen. Everyone thought, okay, it might have been closer because the last week or so, it looked like Kari Lake had a surge. But everyone thought she was still going to lose. But now, there's a pathway for Kari Lake. She could actually win and give Republicans 54 Senate seats, which is a big deal because if we get 54, we got 53 with David McCormick, but if we get 54, no matter what John Curtis, Lisa Murkowski, Susan Collins, no matter what those idiots do, we have a real majority. Those 3 idiots can vote 100% Democrat, yet we still would have 51 voting in favor of Trump's agenda. At least, sometimes there might be a vote here and there, but you get the point that we would have a real majority. Now, like I said, there are roughly 600 to 700,000 votes outstanding in Arizona. Now, if Kari Lake was down by like 200,000 votes, this race would be done. She would have no pathway. It would be over. She's not down by 200,000. She's not even down by 100,000, not even by 50,000. Right now, Kari Lake is down by only 41,000 votes. That's it. Not down by 500,000, only by 40,000 votes. So there are a bunch of votes outstanding that could give Kari Lake a victory. Now, to be fair, it's still unlikely. I still think Ruben Gallego is the favorite because you look at where some of these votes are outstanding from. They're from places like Pima. Not all of it, but a decent chunk is from Pima. There are some from Apache, which is much more Democrat leaning. There's some votes there. Even Maricopa, which we'll get to in a second, it's not some deep red area. It's much more light blue to purple. Now, there are some Republican votes out of Yuma, Pinal, and other Republican-leaning areas. But the problem for Kari Lake is these areas, they're super Republican, but they don't have a lot of votes in them. Like, look at Yuma. Right now, it's 59% in, and there's only, what, 36,000 votes in Yuma? They're going to end up with, like, 50,000 votes, but that's nothing. And I know it's super Republican, it will be a big nut for her, but it's not 500,000 votes. Meanwhile, look at Pima. Pima County right now has like 400,000 votes, and Ruben Gallegos up by 100,000 votes. Look at Maricopa. There are like 1.6 million votes. Right now, Ruben Gallegos up by 70,000 votes. Now, of course, the rest of the state matters. For Kari Lake to win, she has to run it up in the rest of the state to have any pathway. And right now, she is running it up. There is a vote dump out in Navajo County, which is, you know, R plus 10, R plus 12. It's a Republican area. It's not super Republican, but it still leans to the right. Well, there was just a brand new vote drop in the county, and it broke for Lake by 17 points. Yeah, it broke for Lake by 17 points. This area's R plus 10, but she had one final batch in the county, and it looked real good for her. She needs batches like that in places like Navajo, Yuma, places like Pinal with what's left there. And I think she will get good results out of these counties because right now, a lot of these areas, the remaining votes are Republican-leaning voters. These are Election Day votes. They're late arriving ballots. These lean to the right in Arizona. And there are a lot of them in the rural parts of the state. They are super Republican. They're going to be favorable to Lake, and she should run it up here. But this is only step one. Like, okay, if Kari Lake runs it up in the rest of the state, that's a very good sign for her because she needs to. For her to win Arizona, she needs to run it up with what's left in the rural parts of the state. But that's step one. Step two is Pima County. This is where Tucson is. This is the more Democrat part of Arizona. And for Kari Lake to win, she cannot get killed here. With what's left in the county, there's like, I believe 100,000 votes. There could be a bit more, could be a bit less, but there's roughly 100,000 votes out of Pima. She cannot get killed here. If there are like some Gallego plus 20 drops in Pima, she's done. She would have no pathway in that scenario because you're talking about a lot of votes leaning heavily towards Gallego. She cannot afford that. She needs to be perfect. Now, that doesn't mean she has to win batch drops in Pima. All she has to do is not get crushed. And that's because if she's getting crushed in Pima, no matter what happens in the rest of the state, there are just too many Democrat votes in Pima to overcome. But if she's, barely losing these batch drops, well, on paper at least, she should actually see a net gain from the rest of the state. But if she's losing Pima batch drops by like 30 points, it doesn't matter what happens in Pinal, in places like Mojave, Yuma, it doesn't really matter. If she's getting crushed in Pima, she's done. She has no pathway, it's over. And well, it looks like she's actually overperforming in the recent batch drops. Look at this. Pima County just posted 15,000 votes, and Gallego only netted 1,200 votes. Yeah, he got a small majority of the vote from this batch drop. This was horrendous for Gallego because for him to put this race out of reach, he needed to win these batch drops in Pima by like 30 points, 20 points, whatever. But not only did he not win it by 20 to 30, he actually underperformed even the basic expectations. He didn't even win this by 10%. That is awful for him. Now, will that continue? We'll just have to see, but this is exactly what Kari Lake needed, because if he loses these batch drops or by like 10 points or whatever, yeah, he's going to net some votes, but this is Pima. He should be winning these batch drops by like 15 to 20 points to put this race out of reach for Kari Lake. Right now, though, she's overperforming in Pima with the recent drops. That's exactly what she needed to do. And when you factor in the rest of the state, out of the blue, this becomes a very close race. And then all eyes are set on Maricopa County. Yeah, this is where the election will be won or lost for Kari Lake. If she wins the Senate race, it's because of Maricopa County. And of course, other factors, but if she loses the race, it's because she underperformed in Maricopa County. This is the county that has, like, I believe it's 400,000 votes. I could be mistaken, but it's like 350 to 400,000 votes. There is a pathway for Lake through Maricopa. Now, this doesn't mean she has to flip the county. I am not saying that at all. But if she is able to win these new batches, like win them by 5 to 6 points, 5 to 6 points, 7 points, 8 points, 5 to 6 points, just slowly eat away at the lead Gallego has, and you factor in the rest of the state, and hopefully doing pretty good enough in Pima, and at that point, the math would have Kari Lake barely, and I mean barely, winning the race. Now, that's a lot of things to happen, but it's entirely possible. And in fact, Eric Daughtry put out this tweet earlier, and effectively, all Kari Lake has to do is win 53% of the outstanding vote to win. Yeah, if she just wins 53%, that's it. Not 70%, not 80%, not 60%, not even 55%. If she wins 53% of the outstanding vote across the entire state, with the majority coming from Maricopa, she would win. She would win the race by a little bit, but she would still win it. We'll see what happens, but the fact that Kari Lake has a pathway at all is just shocking. But you start doing the math, it's like, yeah, there is a pathway for Kari Lake. If she pulls it off, it's because she narrowed her defeat in Pima, ran it up in the rest of the state, and she did good enough in Maricopa. She doesn't have to win the county, but if she does just good enough where she wins a majority of the vote outstanding statewide, just a majority, not some crazy 50-point victory, she would be the winner. She would win by a couple thousand votes, but it would still be a victory. There's still a bunch of votes outstanding, and we got to see what happens, but these votes are election day votes, and or votes that lean more towards Lake. That's why this race hasn't been called yet. If this was just from Pima and Maricopa, it would probably be over. But the fact is, these votes outstanding, they lean more towards Lake. They're going to lean more towards Lake, and on paper, there is enough votes out there for her to win. Is it a guarantee? No. But if you're Gallego, you sort of sweat a little bit like, oh, we are barely winning, and there's a bunch of Kari Lake-friendly votes outstanding out there. All right, there's a bunch of them outstanding. We don't know how they're going to vote. Like, they could be friendly to Gallego. But more than likely, these votes, they're going to help Kari Lake inch away at this margin that Gallego has built. We'll see what happens in like a week or so, because that's probably when we're going to know who won. In like next week, next like Thursday or whatever. It might be later today. If there's a real bad vote drop for Kari Lake in Maricopa, this race is probably over. But if it's very good, her pathway to winning becomes even easier. We'll see what happens, but if you're Kari Lake, the fact that you even have a shot here is just a miracle. But you should be thanking Trump that he won the state by 6 points. I mean, he's up by 6 points right now, and more than likely, these votes outstanding are going to probably increase his margin of victory in the state to like R+6, R+7, R+8. Who would have thought that was going to happen? But Trump is doing his job up ballot, and now it's up to Kari Lake to make up just enough votes to win. I mean, we'll see, but it's going to come down the wire. It's going to come down the wire to see who actually wins this race, and if it's Kari Lake or Ruben Gallego. Anyways, folks, thank you so much for watching. If you guys did enjoy, smash the like button down below, subscribe, share with your friends, hit the little bell, follow the social media accounts, the description down below, and of course, join the channel today. Godspeed to all of you.